This one. Okay. Oh, can I start again? Okay. Going back to our country's foundings, there were policies and systems put in place that disenfranchised whole ethnic and racial groups from building wealth and being economically vibrant and prosperous. If we are going to close the racial and ethnic wealth gap, we're going to need to directly attend to current and existing policies that perhaps may continue to provide barriers to wealth creation, particularly for Black and Latinx households, but also how do we further enable that all Americans have the opportunity to build wealth. As we think about policy and advocacy, we can engage in a variety of different ways. And we think about this sort of in three buckets. How we build knowledge and political will, how we can help support a strong and vibrant policy landscape, and finally, actually advocating and lobbying for the kinds of policy and systems change we think are important. The first part of the equation is really focused on how do we build knowledge and public will, and that's very much focused on how do we make sure that we have an informed and vibrant public dialogue about the policy and systems changes that are needed to move the needle and close the racial and ethnic wealth gap. And so examples of that include investing in the kinds of policy research that will help us better design and implement policy, but also the kinds of public dialogues that need to happen, convenings, engagement opportunities, and how we talk about those policies. The second piece of the strategy is really around bolstering that policy landscape, and that landscape really includes a whole range of actors, but namely nonprofit organizations that are doing the kind of policy advocacy, policy development that will lead to legislative changes or administrative policy making at the state and local level. And then finally, advancing policy and system changes really is focused on how do we help advocate for and use our voice with lawmakers and folks who govern our city and our region to be accountable to the kinds of policies and systems that we want to make sure are put in place. If we are going to close the racial and ethnic wealth gap at the scale, we're not going to only be able to do that through our grant making, but through actually redesigning systems, transforming those systems to work better for the people of the Chicago region and beyond.